Afternoon, everybody. Now, in coming back to the First World War, from the middle toward the end of 1917, the United States had officially declared war and entered in on the side of Britain, France, and Russia. However, it can very easily be said that the United States was not ready for war. They had not mobilized. They did not have a very large standing army. And although the United States would mobilize to become a major manufacturer and arms supplier of the war, they weren't ready on the home front. They were nowhere near ready to actually enter this conflict. In fact, when the United States actually did start fielding troops in 1918, many of the battalions and units would be led by 18-year-olds. There weren't even that many veteran officers. Now, originally, the British and the French wanted the American troops to be used to fill in the gaps that were being left by their own casualties. They wanted to fill in the lines of the British and French units were leaving open during the war. And there was a big concern about that. So General Pershing, who became the commander of the American armies, worked it out with President Wilson to make sure the United States had an independent command. They'd work with the French and the British, but they would not be directly under Generals Haig and the French commander, General Foch. They would have their own independent command. This way they wouldn't just be told what to do. That was very important to the Americans on this matter. Now, on the other side, Germany hearing about the United States entering the war, said they didn't have their hands full enough as it was. Because Germany, they'd been fighting nonstop. Say what you will about Germany, they had been quite successful for most of the war. Every single year of the war to that point, they had knocked out a belligerent. In 1914, they knocked out Belgium. 1915, they knocked out Serbia. 1916, they knocked out Romania. In 1917, thanks to that little thing called the Bolshevik Revolution that they helped stir up, they knocked out Russia. So they find out after the fact that all of the wealth and resources of the United States were going to be coming in against them. So they had their hands full with that, and then you find out no sooner they knock out another belligerent that they now have to deal with the United States. So they simply on there began increasing the unrestricted submarine warfare to try to keep the United States from being able to send most of its troops over this way. It didn't prove to be successful, but that's pretty much all Germany had. So the United States was not ready. They were slowly began making preparations to enter the war in 1918, and Germany was doing whatever they had to try to make sure that that was not a smooth transition. So there you go.